Welcome back to my Sunday Jam. If you tuned in last month, thank you for watching. It was kind of long, uh, and I'll try and keep future ones shorter. But this is a very personal project, and usually when the month of February rolls around and my birthday shows up, and I'm realizing I'm here on this planet for yet another year, uh, I sort of want to put myself out there and sort of let you know why I do this and why I do the crazy things that I do and why I love the 80s. And I had to figure out for myself why I love the 80s. One thing that I forgot to add last month, which I figured out over the last year or so, which is sort of surprising, I think people will find about me, is that I hate nostalgia. So, here I am, this guy doing this project about the 1980s. I spend my weeknights watching 80s movies. Spend my weekends watching movies from the 70s and TV shows from the 70s, and we listen to our 70s music here. How is it that I hate nostalgia? Uh, I don't like looking back. And I sort of feel like the outside world in 2023 sort of forces me to look back a little bit. The My inside world with my wife and my family is like a blessing, and it's really like winning the lottery. I never could have imagined. The outside world kind of sucks. So I find myself going back to the 70s and 80s. But I found that I was much happier in this life when everything is sort of new and exciting and fresh. And you're looking forward. And even just doing this project and all the stuff that I do musically, I want to look forward. I don't want to spend my life looking back. And I remember arguing with my father. He always used to say that I lived in the past. But the truth is that I just found a way to keep the past with me. As an example, when my dad was a little kid, his best friend was my Uncle John. And Uncle John's family had this recipe for this marinade that they put on everything. It's basically garlic and molasses and soy sauce and ginger. So what we do is we marinate steak in that sauce for a day, and then we cook it on the grill, and then we have Uncle John's steak. And it's sort of my way of remembering him, uh, so that we don't kind of forget. And my family knows who Uncle John is and what Uncle John's sauce is, and I love stuff like that. And I'm doing this project, and it's sort of like a love letter to the past, to the 80s, saying, hey, I had a great time. Thank you. So I just wanted to mention that because I'm a very confusing person, but I'm always looking forward, even though I love this project, and I find my mind going to my happy place in the 80s. This month's song totally takes me back every time I hear it, right back to 1986. Human League was a trio from England. They had a couple of hits in the early 80s, Keep Feeling Fascination and Don't You Want Me. When 1986 rolled around, though, they sort of dried up a little bit, weren't really having any success. So they hooked up with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. The duo, they were originally in a group called The Time that played with Prince. And then they went and started just being producers and did all of the Janet Jackson stuff. So any Janet Jackson hit you've ever known is from them. And they were on fire. They were having tons of success. So they actually approached Human League about working together. So they got together and started making an album. Now, when you're a producer of a recording, somebody's giving you a lot of money to make a record, and you're the boss. So you can imagine somebody handing you $100,000 or $1 million and saying, "Don't screw it up." So it's sort of basically what you say goes. The problem is when they got in the studio, nothing was lining up. They were the boss. Human League crafted their own hits, and they had a lot to say, and they wanted to do things. And Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis didn't want them doing it. I listened to that album all the way through now. I actually don't think I made it all the way through. It wasn't very good. And in fact, I think Human League sort of did half of it on their own, and then Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis did a couple of things. But it was at the point where there were female vocal parts, and they brought in a session singer to sing the parts instead of having the people in the band do it. I think the keyboard player from Human League left and quit music after all those hits that they've had. It was, and to me, I mean, obviously, they were as successful as it gets. But when I produced records for people, I always try and meet them halfway, find out what they're about. If I come up with song titles or a style of production or instrumentation, it's sort of to fit what they are. And I think that's the smart way to do it. So to be at the top of your craft and to just not really treat people very well and sort of treat them like puppets. In fact, this song Human, I don't know why you would write a song called Human for a band called Human League, but uh, I think Terry Lewis wrote that and he said, "Here you go. We're going to record that and that's it." And Human League really had nothing to do with it. The lead singer sang on the lead vocal, and one of the women's did that speaking part in the middle. And then they had a session singer sing the song parts. So it's like, what is the point of that, other than to just get a hit? I think you really need to figure out what people are about and how they want to sound and what they want to say, and uh, that's how I've worked, and obviously it worked better for them. And it's a little weird. They do things like the chorus of the song is "I'm only human, of flesh and blood I'm made." A songwriting rule is you don't invert sentences to make a rhyme. So I don't know. They just broke all the rules for this thing, and they never worked together again. And I don't think ever spoke to each other again. So is it successful? I guess so. So what's next? Next month, I'm doing a song from an Australian band that had a couple of big hits around 1987, 1988. And I've heard this song around more and more. If you pay attention, you'll find it. And I just wanted to thank my wife for sort of putting up with me in this project. It's been a really crazy, especially last 6 months with life, and it would be easy to just let go of this project and concentrate on other things. But it's a really big part of me, and it's something I sort of need to do on top of whatever else is going on in life. So I appreciate her making time and letting me do my thing. So thanks for tuning in, and spring is here, and I'm looking forward to keeping the windows open and having a blast with this all summer. So hope to see you next month. Thanks.